I want to start today with a question, and I promise it's a strange one.
I'm ready.
Why is there a letter B in the word doubt?
Say that again.
Doubt. D-O-U-B-T. There's a B in the middle. Nobody says it, nobody hears it, nobody needs it, but there it is.
You know what? I've read that word 10,000 times, and I have never once thought about that B.
Nobody does. It just sits there, silent, doing nothing. And here's the part I love. That B is not an accident. It's not a mistake. Somebody put it there on purpose.
Somebody added a silent letter to a word on purpose.
About 500 years ago, a small group of men sitting in a room decided that the word doubt needed a B, even though no one would ever say it. And today, 400 million people learn English, and every single one of them has to remember that B.
That is either the funniest thing I've ever heard or the most annoying.
It's both. And that is exactly what today's episode is about.
So this is the English is Weird episode.
This is the English is Weird, and it is absolutely not your fault episode. Because here's the thing. Every English learner, at some point, has this quiet thought. I must be stupid. Why can't I remember this? Why does this language make no sense?
Oh, that feeling is very real.
And today, I want to take that feeling away. Forever. Because the truth is, English isn't hard because you're slow. English is hard because English has been broken. Many times, by many people, over 1,500 years. And today we're going to look at exactly who broke it, and when, and why.
And I have to say, once you know these stories, the language changes. It stops feeling random. It starts feeling like a puzzle with an answer.
That's the promise for this hour. You will never look at English the same way again.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lessons. We're very glad you're here.
This is the podcast where you improve your English, one simple conversation at a time. We speak slowly, we speak clearly, and we use easy English.
So whether you're at home, walking, cooking, driving, or just relaxing, you can listen and learn with us. You don't need a notebook today. Just listen and enjoy.
And if you enjoy learning English with us, please subscribe to the Lessons channel. It really helps us, and it means you never miss an episode.
So Emma, where do we start?
We start with the silent letters, then we'll find out why English spelling doesn't match English sound. Then, my favorite, why English has 3 different words for almost everything.
3 words for everything?
3 words for everything. And then irregular verbs and plurals. And at the end, the boss level, phrasal verbs.
The final boss.
The final boss. And then we'll finish with something practical. 5 things this history actually teaches you about how to learn.
Perfect. Let's begin.
Part 1. The silent letters. Let's go back to that B in doubt.
Please, I need to know who did this.
Okay. Wouldn't you? A long time ago, English took this word from French. In French, it was doute. D-O-U-T-E, no B. And in English, people wrote it the same way. Doute. Simple. Sensible.
So far, so good.
Then we arrive at the 1500s. And at this time, there are men in England, writers, teachers, printers, who are, let's say, very impressed by Latin.
Latin, the old language of Rome.
Exactly. And to these men, Latin is beautiful. Latin is serious. Latin is the language of educated people. And they look at the simple English word, doute, and they think, In Latin, this word is dubitare, and dubitare has a B.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And they think, let's put the B back. Not to change the sound, nobody's going to say it. Just so that everyone can see, when they read the word, that this word has a noble Latin family.
So the B is decoration.
The B is decoration. It's a little flag that says, I come from Latin.
Emma, that's ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous. And they didn't stop there. Look at the word debt.
D-E-B-T. Another silent B.
Same men, same idea. Latin debitum. So in goes the B. And here's my favorite one. The word island.
I-S-L-A-N-D. There's an S in there that nobody says.
And that S is a mistake, a real mistake, because island is not from Latin at all. It's an old English word, England. It never had an S, ever.
So why is it there?
Because there was another word, isle, which does come from Latin, from insula, and somebody looked at England, thought, this must be related to isle, and added the S to match.
But it wasn't related.
It wasn't related at all. Wrong word, wrong family, wrong idea. And that wrong S has been sitting in island for 400 years.
And every learner in the world has to memorize it.
Every single one. So the next time you write island and you think, why is this S here? The answer is because someone made a mistake in the 16th century and nobody ever fixed it.
That's oddly comforting.
Isn't it? Now, not every silent letter is a joke. Some of them are ghosts.
Ghosts?
Ghosts. Sounds that used to be real and then died. Take the word knife. K-N-I-F-E.
The silent K.
That K was not silent. 600 years ago, people really said it. K-knife, K-knee, K-night. You pronounced both letters.
Wait, so night was K-niched?
Something very close to that. And no was K-now. The K was alive. And then, slowly, over a couple of hundred years, English speakers got lazy, as all speakers of all languages always do. And the K sound at the start of those words just faded away.
But the spelling stayed.
The spelling stayed. So now you have a letter marking the grave of a sound that died 500 years ago.
That's beautiful and terrible.
And the same thing happened with GH. Think of night, light, eight, daughter.
That GH that does nothing.
It used to do something. It was a real sound, a rough sound in the back of the throat, a bit like the cheech in the Scottish word loch, or in German Nacht, nicht, Licht.
And English lost that sound.
English lost that sound completely, but the letters are still standing there, like an old building nobody wants to knock down.
Okay, so here's my question. Why doesn't somebody just fix it, delete the silent letters, make it simple?
People have tried. There have been serious campaigns to reform English spelling. Famous, powerful people supported them.
And
they all failed. Every one. Because by the time anybody tried, millions of books were already printed the old way. And you can't reprint every book in the world because a few letters are annoying.
So we're stuck.
We're completely stuck. English spelling is frozen. It's a photograph of how people spoke hundreds of years ago, plus some decoration that was never real in the first place.
So for our listeners, the practical lesson here?
The practical lesson is this. Do not try to understand English spelling by logic. It has no logic. It has history. So don't ask why. Just take the word as a picture and learn the picture.
Learn the shape of the word, not the rule.
Learn the shape. And when a word looks strange, silent B, silent K, silent G, H, smile, because now you know. That's not your problem. That's a ghost.
Okay, Emma, but silent letters are only part of the problem. There's something bigger.
Go on.
The vowels. Look at these words. Through, though, tough, thought, thorough. They all have O-U-G-H in them, and they all sound completely different.
Through, though, tough, thought, thorough.
5 spellings the same, 5 sounds different. How?
This one has a name. Historians call it the Great Vowel Shift.
That sounds dramatic.
It was dramatic. Between about the year 1300 and the year 1700, the vowel sounds of English, the A, E, I, O, U, quietly changed. All of them. Across the whole country.
What do you mean changed?
I mean, if you traveled back in time 600 years and met an English speaker, you would not understand them. The word name was said more like nama. 5 was more like beef. House was more like whose. Bite was beat.
So the word bite was beat.
Roughly, yes. And then, over about 300 years, all these long vowels slid to new positions. Nobody planned it. Nobody announced it. It just happened. The way fashion happens.
Okay, but languages change. That's normal, right? Every language changes.
Every language changes, and normally spelling changes with it. That's the normal, healthy thing.
So what went wrong here?
Timing. Terrible, terrible timing. Because right in the middle of this big sound change, something arrived in England.
The printing press.
The printing press around 1476, and suddenly, for the first time, you could make hundreds of copies of a book, all identical.
Which is wonderful.
Which is wonderful and also a disaster, because printing froze the spelling. The printers picked a way to spell each word and locked it in metal. Meanwhile, the sounds kept moving for another 200 years.
So the spelling stopped and the pronunciation kept walking.
Exactly that. The spelling stopped and the pronunciation kept walking. And by the time everything settled down, they were in completely different places. And they never got back together.
That is genuinely a tragedy.
It's the great tragedy of English spelling. And that's why OUGH has 5 sounds. Those words were frozen at different moments, from different places, with different accents.
Let me ask you something. Is English the worst in the world for this?
For a language with an alphabet, English is famously one of the worst. In Spanish, in Italian, in Turkish, in Finnish, you see a word, you know how to say it. You hear a word, you know how to write it. The letters keep their promises.
And English letters lie.
English letters lie constantly. There's a famous joke about this. Somebody said, you could spell the word fish as G-H-O-T-I.
G-H-O-T-I? How?
Take the G-H from enough. That's an F sound. Take the O from women. That's an I sound. Take the T-I from nation. That's a shaish sound. F-I-S-H. Fish.
That's not fair.
It's not fair, and it's not a real word. It's a joke. But it makes the point perfectly. In English, the same letters make different sounds depending on which word they're standing in.
Okay. So what does a learner do with this?
3 things, and these are genuinely useful, so listen closely.
I'm listening.
Number 1, learn the sound and the spelling as 2 separate pieces of information. When you meet a new word, don't assume you can guess the sound from the letters. You can't, so learn both. Listen to it and look at it.
2 facts, not 1.
2 facts, not 1. Number 2, learn words in families of sound. So, night, light, right, sight, fight, all the same pattern. If you learn one, you get 5.
The pattern does the work.
The pattern does the work. And number 3, and this is the big one, never ever feel embarrassed about pronunciation. Because native speakers get this wrong too.
Do they really?
All the time. Every English speaker has words they only ever read in books. And when they finally say them out loud, they say them wrong. It's a completely normal experience.
I have absolutely done that.
Everyone has. So if you say a word wrong, welcome to the club. Native speakers are in this club too. The language did this to all of us equally. Alex, I want to try something. I'm going to give you a situation and you tell me how you'd say it.
Okay.
You want somebody's opinion? You need information. What's the verb?
Ask.
Good. Now say it more formally, in an office, in a meeting.
Question or inquire.
And now say it like a police officer in a serious investigation.
Interrogate.
There it is. Ask, question, interrogate. 3 words, almost the same meaning. Completely different feeling.
And English does this constantly.
English does this constantly, and there's a reason. It's the most important story in the whole history of the language. It starts in the year 1066.
What happened in 1066?
England was invaded. An army came across the sea from northern France, the Normans, and they won. And suddenly, the kings, the nobles, the judges, the government of England were French speakers.
And the ordinary people?
The ordinary people kept speaking English. And this is the key. The country split into 2 languages. French upstairs, English downstairs. The powerful spoke French. The workers spoke English.
For how long?
For about 300 years.
300 years.
300 years of 2 languages living in the same country. And when they finally mixed together, English didn't throw away its old words and take the new ones. English kept both.
So we ended up with 2 words for everything.
2 words for a lot of things, and then later, scholars added Latin and Greek words for science and law, So for many ideas, we ended up with 3. And here's the beautiful part. The Old English word usually feels warm, short, and personal. The French word feels polite and educated. The Latin word feels technical and cold.
Give me examples.
Ask, question, interrogate. Begin, start, commence. Kingly, royal, regal. Help, aid, assist. Rise, mount, ascend. Fear, terror, trepidation.
You can feel the temperature change.
You can feel it dropping. Short words are warm, long words are cool. That's not an accident. That's a 1,000-year-old class system, still living inside the vocabulary.
Okay, but here's my favorite version of this. Food.
You know the food one.
Tell them, because this one is incredible.
Okay, the animal in the field is a cow. The meat on the plate is beef. The animal is a pig. The meat is pork. The animal is a sheep. The meat is mutton. The animal is a deer. The meat is venison.
And in every single pair, the animal has the English name and the meat has the French name.
Every single pair. Now think about why.
Because the English speakers were the ones taking care of the animals.
The English speakers were in the field, in the mud with the living animal, and the French speakers were at the table eating it. 2 different groups of people, 2 different words, and the language remembers.
That's 1,000 years old, and it's still on the menu today.
It's still on the menu today. Every time you order a steak, you're speaking a tiny piece of that history.
Emma, that changes how I see English completely.
And now, the practical part. Because this isn't just a nice story, it's genuinely useful for a learner.
How so?
Because it means English has levels, and once you can hear the levels, you sound much more natural. Here's the rule of thumb. Short old words for speaking, longer words for writing.
So in conversation?
In conversation, use the short ones. Let's start, not let us commence. I need help, not I require assistance. Can I ask you something? Not may I interrogate you?
Please never say that.
Please never say that. And here's the mistake I see so often. Learners study hard, they learn beautiful long words, and then they use them in normal conversation and they sound strange. Not wrong, just strange, like wearing a formal suit to the beach.
That's a great image.
And the fix is simple. When you're speaking, reach for the short word. When you're writing something formal, an email to a company, an essay, a report, reach for the longer one.
Short for the mouth, long for the page.
Short for the mouth, long for the page. And if you only remember one thing from this section, remember that. It will make you sound more natural immediately. Alex, look at the clock.
We've been going for a while, haven't we?
We have, and we've only covered 3 things.
3 things, and every one of them explains something I've been quietly confused about my whole life.
So let's stop here and pick this up tomorrow. Quick review of today.
Please.
Silent letters. Some are ghosts of sounds that really died. The K in knife, the GH in night. People genuinely said those 600 years ago.
And some are pure decoration.
Pure decoration. The B in doubt and the B in dead were added by men who loved Latin and wanted the word to look noble. And that S in island is simply a mistake that nobody ever fixed.
Then spelling and sound.
English spent 300 years quietly changing all its vowels, and a printing press froze the spelling right in the middle of it. The spelling stopped, the pronunciation kept walking, they never got back together.
Which is why OUGH has 5 different sounds.
5. Through though, tough, thought, thorough. Not your fault. Nobody's fault, really. Just terrible timing.
And the invasion.
1066, the Normans arrive, and for 300 years, England runs on 2 languages. French upstairs, English downstairs, and when they finally mixed, English kept both sets of words.
Ask, question, interrogate.
Cow in the field, beef on the plate, and the rule that came out of it, which I want everybody to keep. Short words for the mouth, long words for the page.
Use the short ones when you speak.
Use the short ones when you speak, and you will sound more natural tomorrow than you did today. That's the fastest change on this whole list.
So what's coming in part 2?
Part 2 is the one people ask for. Why do verbs refuse to behave? Go, went, gone. Where did went even come from?
And I have a question I've been saving.
Go on.
One goose, two geese. So, one moose, two meese.
It is absolutely not me's.
But why not? And that's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, plus the hardest thing in the entire English language, which we're going to call the final boss.
Now, a small challenge for today.
Tell them.
In the comments, tell us one English word whose spelling has annoyed you the most. The one that makes no sense. The one you always get wrong.
And if we can, we'll tell you the story behind it. There almost always is one. And we might use your word in a future episode.
We read every comment and we reply.
And before you go, you just listen to 20 minutes of English without stopping. That's real practice. It counts, even though it felt like a story.
If you enjoyed this, press like and subscribe so part 2 finds you tomorrow.
You're not learning a simple language badly. You're learning a difficult one well.
See you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.